today is Pajamas Migration Day. So, for that, I'm going to live stream doing some pajamas migrations. But for some extra context, we've been developing a course at GitLab for contributors with pajamas migrations in mind. So please feel free to ask questions on how these things work. But I'm just gonna talk through how this goes. And hopefully it's helpful for you. I'll also just record this for myself and test my mic. Sorry. Okay, is that working? Yep, great, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with this Pajamas Migration Day scanner. If you'd like a more straightforward issue, you can choose lots of easy ones. Otherwise, we're going to do one tough one. They're really not that tough. We're just doing drop down. Okay, some of them are. So yeah, the ones with view in it, these are pretty straightforward generally. The ones that are in JavaScript or jQuery, that's going to be a lot harder. I mean, please, you're welcome to do it, but just be aware. Okay, so we're going to pick this issue. We'll just have a quick look first to make sure like the issue is clean and we can do it. So this is a drop down, and we need to move to a different kind of drop down. So we'll look at the epic and we can work out which one we need to go to. Disclosure drop down or collapsible list box. We can use this tree for working out which it is. And just before I assign it to myself, I'm just going to check here, if we can do it, that's all. Okay. So what we need to know is the user performing an action or a workflow or selecting more options? So either it's a drop down that gives us a list of options to, like for example, this one. This is just a list of actions or links. Whereas if you're selecting, I don't know which colors you like, then it's going to be selecting more than one options. So generally, it's going to be disclosure drop down. Otherwise, it'll be a list box. And then otherwise, there's some more, but we're not going to get into it because we probably won't have to deal with it. So if we have a look at this drop down, what we're trying to work out is what is it displaying. So we can check out where this is rendered, but we can also just have a read and try to work it out from there. So here we have, so this looks like a container, and then we have, I guess, our label essentially. Strange that it's just in a span, but okay. And then we have our drop down, which is a list of, so on click, it runs on toggle. So these are grouped by none label, grouped by epic label. So what I'm imagining is it's going to be a list of options and we're going to choose one of these options. Probably we can't choose multiple, which means it's just going to be a disclosure, which is fine. Okay, so on toggle, we're tracking that if it's turned on or off, and it's going to turn something on or off. All right, so what we might do is work out where is this rendered. So the way I'm going to do that is because this doesn't look straightforward. JavaScript boards, components. What we're going to do is we're going to look at a previous MR and hope that there's some validating instructions. Okay, this was 4 months ago, so it's the most recent. This is what we're looking for, how to set up and validate locally. So without any feature flags, verify that the issued board switch properly to or from swim lanes with Apollo board, feature flag. It's going to do something different. Okay, we can have a look. So this is our drop down here, group by. So it's a single select, which means it's going to be the disclosure. It's not a multi-select. Okay, and then we just need to get to this page. We can see we're in issues, boards here. Should be straightforward. So let's have a look. So we were entering a project, looking at issues. Okay, so it's a little bit different to what I expected. Because this is the old navigation. That's okay. So I think we go issue boards. Here we go. I'm going to do it in the GTK. Okay, issue boards. This is on GitLab. We're not going to look at that. Okay, group by epic or no grouping. Now there was a different. So there's like there's only two options here: none or epic. Great, easy. So this is our group by. I guess that's why it's a bit weird because it's in this top. That's okay. I think it's okay. If you think there should be a label, let me know. Maybe it should be. Feels like it should. Anyway, cool. Okay, so I'm confident we can do this. So I'm going to assign myself. If you're a contributor, you can't assign yourself, but you can tag me or the contributor success team and ask me to assign you. So if you ask for contributor success, it looks like, hang on, success. This is the team. You can tag them and someone will assign you. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to have a read through again of how this works. So we're going to use a GL disclosure dropdown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the disclosure dropdown epic. This has all the instructions we need to make this happen. Okay. So pick an issue, find out where the component is rendered. We'll need to compare the old to the new, so we're going to take some screenshots. It's a good tip. I might just do a recording. Might be easier. And we'll include what it's actually rendering. Okay. We're not rendering, but affecting. Okay. So now we have our screen capture, so we can use this in our MR. Okay, and then if we follow the instructions again, so we're going to look at the documentation for GL disclosure dropdown, try to work out how is this different from what we have been using. Okay, so it just says start plugging away, so that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do first is we're going to change this to disclosure dropdown. It's called GL disclosure dropdown, and then I think it's just called, I think this is right as well. We'll double check it. In the documentation is where we're going to check it. So GL disclosure dropdown. Why has it got two dropdowns here? I think this is a mistake. It is because of this. All right, we're going to fix this as well. Let's go on a little detour. So this is a different project. It's called GitLab UI. And what we're looking for is this line. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because this is something pretty straightforward, it's not something we have to validate locally, we're just going to do a search in the whole code base for this text, dropdown. We're going to find it, and we're going to remove the second dropdown. So this is the GitLab IDE. It's new and shiny. Yeah, super useful for things like this, where we don't actually need to, render everything to make sure it works. We're just changing one tiny piece of documentation. Why can't we find this? It's slow. We can probably also find it if we look for like disclosure, drop down, markdown. Here it is. Fix naming in disclosure. That's not right. We're not going to commit it to main. We're going to commit it to a new branch, which is called fix naming in disclosure dropdown. Docs. Super creative. And then we're going to create a merge request. It's going to be a real easy one. This is the naming of the demonstration code block, in demonstration code block of, we're not going to include a screenshot. Yeah, we're going to tick all of these. Yeah, we're fine. Okay, so we're not changing a component. We're changing the documentation. It needs to be reviewed by a text writer, so we'll make sure we tag a text writer. If the MR changes component API, it doesn't. Adding the component label, we will. Yeah, it's fine. Doesn't involve security. I think we're going to leave this off. Yeah. We're cool. All right. So I'm going to find a. Yeah, going to wait for it to run because it should. Once it's set up, it should automatically suggest who to review it. But otherwise, we can use this handy review tool, find a reviewer. So we're going to find a docs reviewer. It doesn't need to be a maintainer. Why can't I see it? Okay, maybe it does need to be a maintainer. Surely not. Okay, so LCI. So we're going to tag, there we go. So we're going to tag Phil Hughes. We're also going to tag Lorena. I'm going to say small fix instead of change. And I'm just going to make sure that the change appears properly. Yeah, all good. And then we're going to assign them as reviewers. Or community contributors. This is a slightly different process, but what you would do is you would say like GitLab bot ready, and it would do this for you, or assign someone to do this for you. So yeah, okay, that was a fun aside. Anyway, what we are doing is migrating this dropdown. All right, so we're going to use, we're just going to replace this gel dropdown. Let's do it smart. Okay, could have been a bit smarter, but it's all right, it works. So I guess one of the first steps we're going to do is just see, does everything still work? This is going to have to change because we now do action instead. But I think we can just change it to action. So this disclosure dropdown, it emits an action instead of a click. Yeah, so it says it here. Provide an action function to items when they're pressed. So then the demo of that should be, oh, so these are like in the items. So instead of having these two items, we could like put it as a group like this, with the name, items, and extra attributes. And I think we can pass the, like within items, we can pass the action and the text and the H reference. But we have this like is checked item. I don't know if this is still a thing we do. Yes, we need to look at the drop down item docs instead of yeah, this is for the drop down, and what I want is for the drop down item. So these are groups. So we don't need a group. Yeah, I think maybe we don't need to use drop down item. We could just pass this information as a like within the item. So we're going to try that. So the extra attributes, this might be like is checked item. But I'm not sure. So you can pass to items, you can pass a group or you can pass an item, which is a group of items. Sorry, a group is a group of items. But I want to know what extra attributes you can pass. Okay, so here's some extra props. Maybe we can say like, should be tick boxes here? Maybe not. No. A reference to ticks. Right. So we'll find the disclosure drop-down item. No. This is the list box, which is not what we're using. Okay, so this is for drop-down item, but we're going to use something slightly different, like the disclosure item. Yeah. Okay. An item we can say is a checked item, and I'm going to assume it's the same for here. So for now, I'm just going to render it and see how this looks. Before I forget, I'm going to create a branch. You can get a handy branch name here, and if your branch name starts with the issue number, it automatically connects the merge request to the issue. Ugh. Okay. Right, so let's have a look. Yeah, this isn't right. Cool. So hopefully we have some error messages in our console. Let's see. No. Okay. No. Does it work? Okay, it still works. That's good. Cool. So what was it that it said here before? Just gonna look at the video that we just took. Okay, group by none. So it has the default. It's kind of a selector too, right? Like if you choose none, then if you choose epic, then it's going to say epic. Yeah. Okay, so we need to work out how to do that as well. Sure, it'll be fine. So we're going to go back to our docs. So I'd expect some prop, maybe this, toggle button text. see if it works. Oh, this gives us like yeah. So it's saying like what the, I think it's saying what the initial button should hold, right? So we want to tell it what is selected. Okay, I'm just going to pause the stream and I'll come back.